Screw it, we're going to go focus in here in Nevada. However, we can't completely take our eye off the ball when it comes to national politics. And one of the races that we're very interested in is obviously our presidential race. Just so you guys know, we're a little bit different than the major parties. So what happens is, this is similar. At our convention, which is going to be at the end of May, Memorial Day weekend in Orlando, Florida, the delegates from the Libertarian Party are going to get together and they're going to determine who's going to represent them and earn the nomination for the presidential candidate. So with that said, I always try to keep my finger on the pulse as to what's going on, who's running. And this has been an interesting week. You know, earlier this week, Governor Gary Johnson announced on Neil Cavuto that he's going to be running for the nomination for president. But I'll tell you what, it was December 24th, a man named John McAfee announced that he's going to run and seek the nomination for the presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party of the Libertarian Party of the United States. And on the 25th, on Christmas, we connected, and on the 26th, he came out here. And that demonstrated to me that the gentleman is very serious. Very interesting guy. Most of you all know John McAfee because at one time or another, I'm sure you've had his software that he was the engineer and architect and developer of on your computer and probably couldn't get it off, and he did a great parody of that. So with that said, I had an opportunity to meet with Mr. McAfee. I was very impressed, and I think he's got some phenomenal, fantastic ideas that are more relevant now than just about any other presidential candidate. I don't think they can shine the shoes in these areas. So with no ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. John McAfee. Now it's something.
So as Brett mentioned, I met Brett for the first time on the 26th of December. Yeah, I found him to be an overly energetic and extraordinarily bright young man, and he impressed me very much, and that's why I'm here today. I was running for president under the Cyber Party, my own party. Prior to switching to the Libertarian Party, I switched for the obvious reason that the Libertarian Party does get ballot access in almost all 50 states. As an independent, I discovered that that is an enormously difficult, time-consuming, and expensive process. However, my politics and the politics of the Libertarian Party do not vary by much. I believe I was a libertarian before the word was even coined. I lived the American dream the way that the Libertarian Party describes the American dream. Taking full responsibility for the faults that I make and enjoying the fruits of my labors. I am very happy to be running as part of this party. The Libertarian Party is composed of a wide and diverse group of people, I have discovered. There are many idealists and a few pragmatists. I differ in one degree from many members of the Libertarian Party, and that is that in order to be successful as a political entity, you must eventually win something. If you want the Libertarian Party to have some clout, at some point you want to have a Libertarian president. And while I agree fully and very strongly with all of the Libertarian ideals, ideals and reality do not always match at the same point in time. As an example, Social Security. We all know what a nightmare it is. We all know that there is no money in the pot. And in 2020, $2.6 trillion is going to have to surface from somewhere to pay back what the government has taken from Social Security. Nevertheless, here is the political reality. 25% of the voting public is on Social Security. The remainder, 75%, are their children and grandchildren. Now you say, we're going to take away your checks. Well, they're not going to vote for you. And neither are the children or the grandchildren, because they're going, oh my God, mom and dad are going to come back and live with us when they take away this. No, come on. No one will vote for that. You cannot just go up there and say, we're going to abandon this policy. No. No. I believe that there are things that can be done. I don't think anybody at the age of 40 or below thinks you will ever see a dime of Social Security. How many people below 40 here? Do you think you'll see Social Security? No, of course not. We all know that. Okay, so why don't we do something like say, okay, starting at age 40, we're going to privatize Social Security. The rest of you guys, we're going to try to keep up this charade and try to stop stealing the money. and try to do something to keep these checks flowing for the next 60 years or whatever. I'm sorry, it's a long period in time, but be real, be real. If we are to succeed as a political entity, we have to accept the practicalities of life. Now, on most of the other issues, I think I have no problem, and I'm in full agreement. Well, not fully agreement. Well, that's not even part of the agreement, some of them, but most of them. I am in fact in agreement. My own background, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a cybersecurity specialist. I think I'm one of the premier in the world. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I just Googled myself. If you Google cybersecurity legend, there are 300,000 results. The top 100 are me. So I must know something about cybersecurity. And I believe that cybersecurity is the #1 problem facing America today. And I'm not trying to downplay ISIS, the economy, the idiocy of government, the fact that we spend $3.8 trillion a year keeping our government intact. For what purpose, I do not know. And if we take all those things and bundle them together, they still do not add up to our single greatest problem, cyber security. Korea detonated possibly a nuclear device this week. Why should we care? The next war will not be done with nuclear bombs or airplanes or battleships. It will be someone pushing a button, and weaponized software will take down our power grid. 4 days ago, Ukraine lost half of its power due to a cyber attack using an ancient piece of software called black energy. Very trivial thing, a 13-year-old could have written it, and it took down, for half a day in the middle of winter, half the country's power. The power grid in America is 50 years old. 50. And it's not one power grid, it's 3 separate grids that have this bizarre interrelationship. And it's controlled by computers that were designed and software that was developed before cybersecurity was even thought of, before the word virus was invented, before the word hacker was invented. Do you realize how easy it would be to terminate electricity for this country permanently by just a group of hackers? And we know that China and Russia have the most advanced weaponized software on the planet. So you tell me that this is not the #1 problem. This year, the Chinese walked off with 21 million records from the Office of Personnel Management, including every top secret secured person who has worked for the government for the past 50 years. I am one of those. No greater coup has ever been achieved in the world of espionage. And what was our response? We hired people to make the employees feel better about themselves. So this is our situation. We do not understand the world of cyber warfare. As America, we are decades behind the Chinese and the Russians. And you must believe me, the next war will terminate our infrastructure, not just our power grid, our communications. We won't be able to get food because food distribution is controlled by computers. And it is so easy to do. And we are ill prepared. So this is my #1 platform, cybersecurity. We have to do something. Now, the current candidates in the major 2 parties, the top 2, #1 has never written an email. The one that has written emails thinks that wiping a disk means taking a damn cloth. So you tell me how these people will handle this threat that's facing us. So that's all. I can talk forever on my soapbox, but I want to open up for questions if you have any, and I'd be happy to answer them, possibly. Yes, sir.
Dale Napier with Let's Talk Nevada.
Yes.
Given your concerns about cybersecurity and grid, the potential endangerment to the grid, do you think it's a mistake for us to go to a smart grid, which would make us theoretically more vulnerable?
No, it has nothing to do with how dependent we are on computers. It has to do with how well those computers are protected against cyber attack. What we need is not to go back to the Stone Age in terms of doing things, but to come into the age of modern warfare and develop systems that will prevent weaponized software from destroying us. And that's going to take a lot of money and a lot of work. And the only way we can do it is I envision a brand new office, the Office of Digital Transformation. That's just my working title. You can call it whatever you want. It's a name. And we have to hire the very people that the government fears now, the hackers. You know, I keynoted DEF CON, which is held in this very town every year. 50,000 of the brightest software minds in the world attend. None of them will be hired by the government because they are hackers. And this is the fundamental problem. We have to turn them into friends. I would have booths at DEF CON saying, hi, we're the US government, we want to hire you and we're paying you double what you're currently making. Because we do not have that technology and then expertise in-house in the government today, quite obviously. Else we would not have the problems that we currently have. Okay? Yes?
How do you improve cybersecurity at the same time help maintain privacy? So in other words, you're improving cybersecurity, or are they two separate things?
They're totally two separate things.
Okay.
Okay, privacy. That's a very simple software issue. If you're the government, you go to Google and say, give us the names. Or you write a simple little application, call it a flashlight app, and in it, you put software that will turn on your camera, your microphone, read your emails and your contacts and your text messages, which half of the apps out there are currently doing. I mean, the most insecure device in the world is this. This is our spy device. We're all carrying one with us. And it's very simple to spy on us through this. So cybersecurity and privacy are two separate issues. Cybersecurity means we need to protect ourselves as a nation, first and foremost, from other nations that are more advanced than ourselves. And number two, we need to protect ourselves as individuals from personal invaders or hackers in China that want to steal your credit card. But privacy is another thing entirely. And it's a much more complex problem politically because it involves the NSA, the CIA, and the other 14 covert agencies within the government whose job is to make sure that we as American citizens are not the enemy. So when the NSA says, open up the kimono because I want to see what you're doing, what they're saying is, we're trying to protect you. But in order to do so, we have to invade your privacy so that we can tell you that you are not the enemy that we're protecting you from. That is the insanity in which we live. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I was specifically thinking about NSA backdoors in relationship with private companies.
But see, backdoors, that's a different thing. That's spying. Okay?
Right, but aren't they utilizing that in the guise of saying that they're trying to protect us, but in reality, we're losing our privacy? I guess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. But that's not a cybersecurity issue necessarily. Although it may be part of it, because sometimes part of cybersecurity is finding information about your enemies. But mostly, it's weaponizing software.
So if I can just put a bow on this, I'm Dave with Kate on, and it's Chad with Kate on.
Yes.
We didn't introduce ourselves. So in the interest of cybersecurity for the nation, we're not looking to limit the personal cybersecurity of individuals, right? Okay.
Listen, my privacy is my second goal. Because here's something else that we don't understand. Tom, can you get my water or someone? Thank you, sir. Here's something we don't think about, is that Google tells us if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Well, that's what Hitler told the German people. And that's what the SS said when they burst into your house to search your belongings. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Well, I don't know about that. I do know this, that every one of you in this room, 100 times a day, exercise in an unconscious fashion a level of privacy in relating to another human being. When you check out food from the store, you're not going to tell the checkout clerk the intimate details of your life. I mean, unless you're seriously stoned or drunk. But you might tell a close friend. You might tell your spouse everything. Unless, of course, you're having an affair, in which case you will not tell them that. So every single person you deal with, you exercise a different privacy filter. It's a critical, integral part of your lives. Now, why? Because we are imperfect creatures. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm sometimes greedy and angry. I'm jealous. I have fear. I also love and feel compassion and have grace. We are a mixed bag. If everyone knew everything about everyone else, we would have riots in the freedom streets because we are judgmental creatures. So we have to have privacy. Don't buy that crap. If you have nothing to hide, you got nothing to fear. You got a lot to fear. A lot to fear. Ask yourselves, is there anything in your life that you would not want the entire world to know? If anybody can say yes, I want to talk to you after this and find out how you survive. So, I'm sorry, I got a lot of things. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Well, with the possibility of.
I'm sorry?
With the possibility of sunspots or solar flares as well as.
Yes. EMP, yeah, they're called EMP events.
In addition to that, I really think the government does know that these other countries have the ability to knock us out. They keep talking about it, but they do absolutely nothing. It's almost like maybe this should happen, they want this to happen, therefore they're not doing anything to stop this from happening. Because what happens to the countries? What happens to the people? I've read that 90% of the people could be dead in a
We'll
year.
have that point. That's what an EMP event, which is where a single nuclear bomb, you know, a 1,000 megaton bomb detonated at 10 miles above the atmosphere over Kansas would destroy our nation forever. Because the EMP pulse would wipe out our power, every telephone on the planet, well, in America, every piece of electricity, it'd be gone. We'd be left with nothing. So we all know that. But here's the issue. I don't think that they want it to happen. I think that they are incompetent to the point that they don't want to address the issue. I mean, if you cannot spell cybersecurity, we are fundamentally in the American government illiterate in technology. Now, if I were running for president and I said, I can neither read nor write, but I have advisors who will explain words for me, would you vote for me? But yet, we have in Congress and in the executive branch, those people all the time saying, I don't understand anything about computers, I have never even sent an email, but I have advisors that tell me all this stuff. No, don't vote for those people. Technology is a critical part of understanding the world in which we live today. So, did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. But I think they're
nothing's
just
been done
incompetent
so
and
far.
they're afraid to address the question.
Picking up on what you
Yes.
just said, would you comment on the importance of the Hillary Clinton email conversation?
You know, life is full of petty problems, all right? And things that we know nothing about. Now, I promise you, behind the curtain in Washington and in every congressman's office, there are things happening that you nor I will never know about. And they're probably the important things. I don't know what about her emails. I mean, you know, the fact that she can send them, it means that she's a step ahead of Donald Trump. Okay? So that's all I know. Secondly, I don't know Hillary Clinton personally. Neither have I gone fishing with Donald Trump or had dinner with any other candidate. So I'm not going to make any comments about other candidates. I don't know them. What I do know is if they're from the major parties, every word that comes out of their mouth was written by somebody else. So I don't know anything about them. Neither do you. Neither do you. Yes, sir.
John, I was just wondering, how do we contribute to your campaign?
Thank you. Just give me the money today. We're working on that. And this gentleman here, who has dropped the ball a bunch of times, I want to talk to you right after this. We're going to talk and figure out how to do that, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Anything else? God bless you all for coming. Thank you.
Picking up the ball, so we have probably, this next announcement is probably the most exciting thing that happened in the Libertarian Party in 20 some odd years. We've been working extremely hard, as you guys know, trying to build a viable option for voters here in Nevada. We've had laser focus in on the state. We've done a lot of stuff. We've introduced bills. We've gotten bills signed into laws. I think we're probably the only state party that's done that to date. So along with that, we've been meeting with a lot of legislators and lawmakers and building relationships. And up in Carson, we had a lot of fun during the legislative session. I say fun, quotes around it. But we've had a lot of interesting stuff happening. But what we have not had in the Libertarian Party is somebody representing the party at the state level. To date, we have never had a state legislator in this state, and there's only been a handful going back, I believe,
1992 in New Hampshire.
1992 in New Hampshire. So, what I am most thrilled about and where we're making history is Assemblyman John Moore has announced, and he's coming on board with us, and he's going to be representing the Libertarian Party up in Carson City. So I want to introduce real quick Jason Weinman, please come up. And he's got a quick statement from the Assemblyman.
So, John, we've been talking to John Moore, trying to make this happen for a while now. John is very excited to be a part of the Libertarian Party of Nevada. Hopefully, he will be able to make it to the reception tonight at the Foundation Room, but unfortunately, he had a medical emergency and was not able to make it to this press conference. If he's not able to make it to the reception tonight, we will schedule another press conference for him. I have been in touch with him. He's not in any kind of mortal danger or anything like that. So we should be able to hold a new press conference with John Moore himself, hopefully within the next couple of days. And I personally believe that this is the most substantial development in the history of the Libertarian Party in Nevada or anywhere else for that matter. John is the first Libertarian state legislator in any state since 1992 in New Hampshire, and he is going to be reelected, I believe, in District 8 on the Libertarian ticket, which will be the first time since the early 1980s that a Libertarian state legislator wins an election, which will revolutionize the party. I think it's increasingly becoming clear, and this is what drove John to the Libertarian Party. What he wants your takeaway to be is that it no longer appears to be viable to work for liberty or smaller government within the two-party system. John has been both a Democrat and a Republican. He was elected as a Republican, and he has found that it is not practical and not viable to work towards libertarian goals and to work towards the things that you believe to be effective and limited government within the two-party system. And I'm proud to announce that John Moore is the first Libertarian state legislator since 1992, and one of the first in the history of the United States.
And so with that said, do you guys have any questions for us in regards to Assemblyman Moore? Or anything else?
Did Assemblyman Moore have opponents in the last Republican primary?
No, he did not.
No.
No, in the last Republican primary in 2014, he did not have a primary, so he went straight through to the general. Republicans didn't look at that as a real district for them because it's so offset by Democrats.
Yes, he was able to win as a Republican in a 2-to-1 voter registration disadvantage district against the incumbent Democrat, Jason Weinman, who has announced that he's running against John in 2016.
Yes.
I listen to talk radio, and for a while they were talking about having petitions to recall this tax and that was passed.
Yeah, the
Then I
commerce
didn't hear
tax.
any more about it.
Okay, so I can give you a quick update on that. What she's talking about, the question is, we heard that there was going to be petitions put out to repeal a tax called the commerce tax. As I mentioned earlier, the commerce tax is a 2% tax on a business's gross revenue, top dollar. And yes, we moved pretty far along. So at first blush, we had to make sure first off that the referendum that we wanted to file was legal. So we did get an opinion 3.5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, there was an opinion that it was legal and that we could in fact go out and start gathering signatures. So that effort is on its way right now. So It's the RIP Commerce Tax is the name of the coalition. And so, you know, you'll start getting emails from us and a bunch of other people who care about business in the state saying, come on down and, yeah, and save. We actually started a whole coalition to go out and get those signatures. It's called Save Nevada Business. If you go to savenevadabusiness.com, you can read all about it. And we're gonna be hosting events and bringing awareness and trying to get as many people involved as we can with that. So yeah, it's well on its way. It's not,
Good.
hasn't
Didn't
fallen off.
just drop from the
No, it
trees.
did not.
Good. I'm so
No, it
glad.
did not. Yeah.
Okay, I have another question. There's a woman that is suing the, I think it's the Clark County School District, concerning using the state money for education for her children to go to a private school. And she's getting grief over this, and so I'm interested in that particular issue. But in addition to that, the way, my understanding, the way this whole thing of giving the money back to the parents, you have to attend school for 100 days before you can have access to that money. And I homeschooled my incredibly wonderful son, worked out great for us. But if you have to attend school for 100 days, then what that means is you have to undergo the immunizations that will actually kill you in many cases.
I'm gonna cut you off right there. Are there any other questions?
Okay, so the,
It's an important issue.
No, it is, but it's off topic of meet the candidates and stuff.
I'll
like
address
that.
it anyway.
Thank you.
So first of all, the Libertarian Party of Nevada absolutely supports school choice, including vouchers and the ESA program. I don't think anyone would disagree that private schools have outperformed public schools for less money for many, many years. I think it's very widely known and accepted that the price of public schools that we're all paying as taxpayers has increased dramatically faster than inflation, dramatically faster than GDP. Scores have been stagnant and results have been stagnant or worse. As for vaccinations, obviously the Libertarian Party is a party that generally supports small government and a limited role for the government in things, and therefore we don't support any kind of mandatory vaccination. However, I will say that the official position of the Libertarian Party of Nevada, and my personal belief, is that vaccinations are not only safe but effective, and were made that way by developments in the free market. I think vaccinations are one of the most important developments in public health in human history, and I think they're a major reason that people are living so much longer and so much more healthfully than they have in the past. Any other questions? Sorry.
All right, both Richard and Mr. McAfee will be available for any questions one-on-one. So thank you guys so much for coming out. We really, really appreciate it.